Hello, my name is Irina Smirnova, and I'm welcoming you to my studio for the third day. And today I'm not going to be showing you how I paint, but I will be showing how do I photograph my work, and we will talk a little bit about promoting yourself as well. So behind me, you can see my artwork that I was showing you another day, and it's a large piece. So, and I have prepared already a camera and two of the lights. I'm going to turn them on now. Those are energy-saving lights, so it takes some time for them to get ready and fully be brightened. You know, these are professional lights, and they are quite pricey. It can cost, you know, starting from $500 and up. But you could use your own lights, and I can show you what I have in my studio. These are clip-on lights. You just need to make sure that the color of the bulb is daylight, because if you photograph with yellow color lights, it's not going to be very good. You need to have it neutral as possible. So a few of those will do, and it's important to position your lights on the left and on the right side of the painting so the light diffuses equally. Right in front of the painting, I have a tripod with my camera. This is Sony Nexon 5N camera with a standard lens. It's 18 to 35, but you know, this is the camera that I always use. You can maybe see me turning on the screen, and you can see the painting. This camera is good for me because I can look at the picture and compare with the picture that I'm photographing and making sure that it's actually appearing as close as possible. And I always photograph my works on the manual setting. That means that I can control the apertures, the shutter speed, and such. And so there are a few things. You know, if you don't have a camera that you can manually organize and do the settings, you could use a regular camera, but I do encourage you to get a camera that you can, you know, control it yourself, because it's gonna be more professional photographs that you're taking. And I will be describing what apertures and shutter speeds do I use here. So this is a very large piece. To give you an idea, I'm gonna come closer and show you. Very large. The more professional way to do it is to photograph each of the panels individually and then merge them in the graphic programs, for example, Photoshop. But I'm going to also take a picture as a whole. So this is a manual setting, and I am using the f-stop 6.3 and a shutter speed 1/4, and ISO is got to be the lowest as possible. My camera allows to do 100 ISO, so this means that the quality of your picture is going to be better. As higher ISO, that means that the more noise will appear on the photograph, which I don't want. You could hear the click, and the click did not happen after I pressed the shutter button immediately. It took 2 seconds. And the reason why I'm doing, because when I'm pressing a button manually, the tripod and the camera are starting to shake, and especially if I'm moving around. So I'm allowing the tripod to stabilize for 2 seconds. There is another option on my camera is to make it 10 seconds, which is probably even better. Or some photographers, professional photographers of artworks, for example, or fashion photographers, they might be also using a manual control, which you could set up with this camera as well. So I'm going to photograph a few times. Okay, another thing I did not mention is that I am, this is the photograph on the lens that is the furthest. So this is the widest angle. And the widest angle on the camera is making the picture rounded. And you need to get it as close as possible to the reality. And by focusing, closing in, the lines are straightening up. So it's going to be more rectangular rather than an appearance of the fish lens. Yeah, I'll take one more time. And you could also use a manual focus because this way you can get to the detail of it and really see how sharp it gets, because you cannot always rely on the camera. But by me keeping my shutter button for a second, the green frames appear. That means that this is the area on which it focuses. And then I'm pressing the button all the way. Okay, so this camera allows me to look at the photograph after it's been taken and in detail. So I just now zoomed in and I'm looking at the little parts, and if I notice that they're not sharp enough, I'm gonna be retaking this picture again. Also, before I continue on this system, I can see that there is a group chat. And if you have any questions, you could always send me a message and I'll try to respond as soon as I see the note. Alrighty, so I continue on photographing. This time, I will be taking a picture of two panels independently. I need to tilt my camera sideways, like this. Zoom in, and of course, since I've been having the camera in the center of the painting, I'll need to get to one side and then the other side independently, making sure that that it is perpendicular to the ground, because the painting is hanging perpendicular to the ground. And again, so pressing shutter speed for it to focus. Waiting for 2 seconds, photographing a few times. I can look at the picture. It's coming out pretty sharp, actually. This is not the best camera, but it's allowing me to take good pictures. After you have taken pictures, you will notice that you will see the differences with the original artwork when you look at the pictures on computer. So every time when I take a picture, I always bring it into a graphic program like Photoshop. And if you're working with the raw pictures, which this camera is taking, you could also adjust it in the different programs as well. And one more time, 3 times. I have also adjusted the color. On my camera, I could do different settings and manually control the color of the picture. Today is a great day, it's rainy, and I am photographing with the natural lights. So I was actually quite happy, and it was very easy to find exact same tone as my painting. But on a sunny day, when there is more warm light, then you need to adjust the color of the photograph more of a neutral. You bring in more blue color in order to neutralize. So the left panel as well. This painting is a painting of a train, and it's been inspired by one of the first films ever shown to the public. I've been mentioning this in the previous video. And the way, when people did not expect, they did not know what a film is and what movie is, and they were sitting in the in auditorium, and when they saw a train arriving to the station, then they did not know that this is not a real train. They were so frightened, they started running away. And so that event, that film, inspired me to make this painting as well, because the influence of art on the human, on the viewer, was so strong that I think all the arts really should be like that. It should be striking, and I'm trying my best in order to capture your attention, to look at my work and start thinking about it. Okay, so one more time, I take a picture. I need to, again, make sure that it's sharp. Okay, wonderful. So this, maybe I should talk a little bit about this lights. I'm going to turn it off. You can actually control how much light you put into here. It's either 1 or 2 bulbs in here. We'll flip it for you to see. It has a flat white screen, and white screens like that allow light to diffuse. If you're not using a screen, then the light is going to be very direct, depending on the shape of the bulb. And different bulbs create different lights. It could be a circle, could be a pointy shape, could be some other formations. You don't want that. You want just to be very natural, diffused, and equal light in order to photograph each detail of the painting and do not disturb it. So this is pretty much it, photographing this piece. After this, I will take pictures, bring it to my computer, open the Photoshop, and I would need to do cropping of the artwork. I would need to, in this case, when I photographed 2 panels, combine them into 1 photograph, save it in a very large file, and it's going to be 350 DPI, and it's plenty enough for printing out. For online, I'm using 72 DPI. I know that I'm giving you a lot of details on all of this, but if you are an artist and you want to get a little bit serious, you need to really study all of these details. You need to know how to use a graphic program. You need to know how to photograph your piece. You need to know how to present it, how to frame it, and so on. Unless, of course, if you hire professionals to do that, this also works. But not everybody, unfortunately, of the artists can afford that. So that's that. And yesterday and the day before, I've been working on my artwork, and you've seen it from the blank sheet of paper. And yesterday it was quite developed. I'm going to show it to you today as well. That's the artwork, and it's quite large. Actually, give me a second. I'm going to bring some light so you can see. In this way is better. It's also a big piece. And what I decided to do in here is to paint on the whole long paper, but later on I will be probably cutting it up for 17 inches tall. And this is my standard size of the artworks. It's actually a good idea to keep it consistent, the sizes, because you'll have an easier way of framing them. You could actually share the same frame that you make. The frames are very expensive also, so you need to be very smart. So this is, if you did not watch my previous videos, this is a comet, a detail of a comet that I'm working on, and the comet is called 67P, Cheremev-Gerasimenko by the people who have discovered the comet. And this project I've been working on already for almost a year, since November 2014, that when we have landed a spacecraft on the comet, and that was the first time in history. And it's an important event. Through my art, I studied the relationship between human and space, the cosmos around us, the universe. And I thought that this event was an important one because we have collaborated, we got together and for scientific, very friendly purposes, we went along with this project. And now the little probe is traveling with the comet and getting a lot of data. So I'm using the photography taken by European Space Agency in order to create a set of these artworks. I'm also now working on a set of sculptures, and it's a little bit ambitious project for me because I did not before work with sculptures, but I thought it's going to be a good idea to have different media. So now the sculptures are small, and I'm making them out of ceramics, it's a porcelain and stoneware. So, but this is for later, and maybe later on you'll see on my website, which is Ekaterina-smirnova.com. You might be able to see the actual three-dimensional pieces, or perhaps if you'll come to one of my shows. And another thing I wanted to talk to you today, since I decided not to paint, but rather talk to you about how to position yourself as an artist. You, besides just painting, besides making sculptures or picking any other media that you work with, you need to really do a lot outside of your studio. I spend a lot of time on my computer and making a website, creating promotional materials, and I try to keep it available for whoever is interested to study more about my projects. For example, my table looks something like that. So here you can see different promotional materials. For example, this one. Now, maybe do it this way. It's a little bit hard to make a video with carrying a computer around. So this maybe this way is a little better. This is a catalog that I made, and you can see it has the same look as a comet. It's just, very creative way that I decided to approach this task, and it has information about the project if you would to decide to study about it, and a lot of pictures from the studio, from the creative process of me doing sketching and generating water. This is I'm making a special water that I am painting with. The water is very close to the composition of the water on a comet. So a little bit science involved. So this gives a sense really on the way that I'm working and the way that the project is moving towards. There is also a price list available in my studio. So, all of these things you need to be able to make or order somebody to do it for you. So that requires knowledge of graphic programs. So what if a collector comes to my studio and he would be interested on not only seeing my biography, but also look through the pieces and possibly even purchase an artwork. So I have that handy. You need to, of course, also have your business card available, and my business card is very fancy. You can see it starting to glow through. That's a little detail of my artwork before you can see that it's glowing. which has information about my website, about my contact details. All of these things should be easily accessible. Of course, you need to have a website and a good presence online, and hopefully you will be noticed. And I will continue doing different streaming from my studio, and possibly even make a video on how to work on your artworks later on, and on a graphical program like Photoshop. And that should be very useful. So I hope that you enjoyed watching my videos, my live streaming, and study how to do simple watercolor paintings. And I am hoping that you will become a fan of my YouTube channel and would become a fan on my Facebook page, which is also has Ekaterina Smirnova artist fan page. And so sign up for my newsletters, which you can do on my website, ekaterina-smirnova.com. And perhaps one day I'll see you in one of the shows or in my studio.